Welcome back, guys, to another video. We're doing something a little bit different this time around. I wanted to touch up on a recent issue that has arisen ever since they changed the format on the Scourge runs and the trial runs. Basically, the gist of it is that no more ranking rewards. Basically, it's just a milestone rewards. So whatever you can get through within the milestones, that's the amount of rewards and shards you can obtain. Now, previously, the way it has been is that you can only participate, and every time you participate, you will be able to get the ranking rewards from the leaderboards, as well as the milestones being reset. You can actually go through the milestones with your existing team power. You didn't actually have to go too crazy over investing in the characters that you didn't want to bring up. Now, with the recent changes, players that are lower level and that are free to play or low spenders at the least, they have to basically gear up their teams to a really high level if they want to, relative to their current level. Like, let's say if you want to, inside the Goblin Trials, if you want to 7-star your Green Goblin, you have to actually build up that rebirth, because there's a node specifically designated for the rebirth team, and there's another one with the New Avengers trait. Now, New Avengers team is a more newer team, but still being forced to overinvest in a luxury war team that is not really usable in any other game modes, not usable in raids or arena or cosmic crucible. You're just basically making one, I mean, it's only war defense, even they're not even that good on offense. But that's not my point. I think the point is that the game is moving towards a buy or die attitude, although this is about the change of character shard placement and farmability, accessibility to newer players. But what I wanted to bring up is the fact that they are asking for our feedback. They want to hear us lower level players as well as the free to play players who are being impacted. Personally, when I was running inside the Green Goblin trial, my rebirth team was 1 million power, and I was able to get the 6-star first time around with my 1 million power team. I had to rerun it a lot of times. It was difficult, of course, because rebirth is just garbage outside of the race. And my second time around, I got extra shards, whatever I need. I even got more than what I needed to get him to 7-star. So I got, like, each time I think I got around around 300 shards each time around from milestones as well as the rank rewards. Now, eliminating rank rewards means it's just less shards available to be obtained, and shards have to be, the rewards basically have to be implemented within the milestones, so that it's the same amount of rewards. Therefore, it's going to be more difficult because you have to actually go higher. You have to finish the milestones. Now, the finishing line is for, if you're a veteran, if you're a spender, it's not going to be that difficult because you can run difficulty 7 or 8 and get through that final milestone easily. Credits to Marvel Church, which I reviewed and helped me understand, because I have 7 stars on my trials and scourges, so I don't see them in game. I had to go back and review Marvel Church, and seems like difficulty 7 or 8 completion with some scourges, or most of the scourges, is needed to obtain that last milestone. And if I was a low level player, if I was level 85, let's say, and I barely had 3-4 stars on each of the New Avengers team, I would be pissed. I know I would be pissed, because even at the time when I was working on the team, it felt very bad bringing up Rebirth and New Avengers just for the knowing that they're going out of the raids. Rebirth is going out of the raids. New Avengers is gonna go on war defense. I don't even get to play with them. So it felt bad at the time. It feels even worse right now. It feels like when back in the day, some of you might not remember, but Kree minions was needed to unlock Nick Fury, so you actually had to farm Kree minions out of the hard nodes. And then Nick Fury was needed. Nick Fury with unreworked, the Winter Soldier before his rework was needed for Omega Red, and Omega Red was OP AF at the time of his release. And it made a lot of people mad. Similar, they did the same thing with Adam Warlock. They moved away with Apocalypse, they moved to the new Scourge system, but you expect as the time passes, I mean, a character shard availability will be easier, specifically if you're lower level, you want to participate, you're hoping to be able to catch up quicker with the current meta with more important characters. Now I know that Scopley wants us to understand that the system that is being implemented is not meant to be done overnight. It's meant to be done in a longer period as you are leveling up. Your commander level is going level 90 or above, and you have higher gear levels available. But this doesn't solve anything. Why, you're asking? Mainly because we have 4 characters released every month, 4 OP characters, plus the reworks, 2-3 reworks at the least every month. That's total of 7 to 8 characters every month that by some mean they have to be upgraded. We had Extreme, we have now Hive Mind team, next we have a Panda Pool team coming up with a new legendary, and the legendary will require some characters. I think Out of Time is the new trait. We had Out of Time team also, and then on top of that you have the Dark Dimension requirements. Basically players who are going through Dark Dimension, they can't bring up Rebirth characters to go into Dark Dimension. It's not really gonna work. So there's multiple things they need to work on, and it's just gonna be harder. That they have to decide whether to allocate. There's a limited number of resources. You have to allocate resources. Do you want to go through your Apocalypse sagas? Do you want to go through your Dark Dimension sagas? Do you want to build the current team that is being released this month? And it's an arena team, because you're going to get screwed if you don't do that. Basically, there's a lot of things that is happening at the same time, and you're making it harder for those guys who just joined the game and who didn't have access to the previous version of Trials and Scourges to obtain these newer characters. This is my feedback. I think this shouldn't be taken lightly. I know that it has been discussed when the Scourges, the Horsemen Scourges changed for the first time. A lot of people got mad, but right now it's gonna be with the Trials, and then next legendary, the legendary after that. People who are not playing the game right now, people who are leaving and rejoining, they are screwed. I think this is not the way to go, Scopley. If you want to keep your players on, if you want to encourage progression, if you want to encourage players to build the team for the Scourge, there should be easier requirements. The requirements should be made easier over time. You shouldn't put it on the player to make it easier for themselves as they progress, because that's the exact wording I saw in one of the, credit to Rage Gaming, he has some awesome videos on the topic as well. I watched his videos. Rage brought up Archangel's comments when he said it's meant to get easy as the player progresses. So they want the player to adapt over time versus they trying to make it obtainable for the characters. Now, if I was a new player, my suggestions for people who are watching this video and who are just joining the game, they're just finishing up their initial campaigns, skip Apocalypse. Don't even bother with Apocalypse. The path is so hard. There's so many teams you have to build. There's 4 Horsemen Scourges. each horseman has four team members along with the legendary horseman that need to be geared up to gear 17. And each trial for each horseman unlock also has multiple teams. I wouldn't even bother going after Apocalypse at this point. Mephisto is dropping soon. Go after your Dark Dimensions, go after your Mephisto. Try to progress in that direction. I know when Red Hawk, there was Black Cat, there was Apocalypse. In their kits, they kind of soft countered Dormammu out of the meta. Basically, Dormammu didn't last long because of these newer characters. I'm guessing what's gonna happen with Mephisto is that he's also gonna get pushed aside. He's gonna push aside Apocalypse. Maybe not Super Skrull because he's newer, but Super Skrull is already pushed aside with Black Knight. He might come back after Mephisto, but the point is just to hold out. Just see what the game does with the new system. Possibly, as the history has shown us, they change the requirements here and there. By the time they do that, probably the Horseman team will be useless. They are to an extent useless at the moment. I'm using them on my defense on Crucible and War mostly right now. Don't even get to play with them anymore. But I wanted to also go over some of these comments basically that we saw on Reddit. Now, some of these are a little bit older. This one is actually not that old. This one is regarding, I think, the Green Goblin trial. It says that new Scourge Milestones. So what happened to the milestones being reworked to get easier? Was that just for Apocalypse Horseman? Now, I know Apocalypse Horseman also has similar requirements, so I don't know if that would be easier for newer players. This is ridiculous. I have decent teams, but I was never expecting to hit all milestones. But I wouldn't mind actually hitting one of them. So he's not even able to hit one of the milestones. And there are people in the comments, I think around a similar level. For this guy, he has a 6-star Green Goblin Classic. He can't take him to 7 because he doesn't want to invest in new Avengers. And that makes sense. I totally agree that people shouldn't be building new Avengers and Rebirth if they're new to the game. It's just buy or die mentality that the Scopley is pursuing. Did you buy Black Knight? Did you participate in the Black Knight event? No? Okay, you die. You don't stand a chance. Then there's many of these posts. There's one in particular that I want to read in more detail. This one right here, but let's see. So this guy, he finished difficulty 7. So I finished the entire trial on difficulty 7 with all Scourges active. That's pretty good achievement. I think difficulty 7 was not easy. I didn't even get to the first milestone. I've tried difficulty 8 with all Scourges and difficulty 8 with all Scourge, with no Scourge, just picking and choosing some Scourges. No matter what I do, I can't get past the 6th node. I am doomed. Now he has updated it. I think people suggested to him, I read some of the comments, suggested him to do difficulty 10 but do 5 nodes instead so that you can get to the last milestone. But again, to get through the first 5, you still need to build themes. There's requirements within the first 5 nodes. Now I don't have the information. I think Rebirth was one that was required on node 2, so that's pretty brutal. If you have to get past through that node in difficulty 10, it would be pretty insane. Now if we look, this guy has a 1.9 mil team and he ran difficulty 10. I had 1 million Rebirth team and my team got me through difficulty 8. I ran the trial twice. I participated in 2 of the trials and I 7-starred my Green Goblin. Why should it be this way for people that are joining after? Why should they be punished because they weren't here? I don't agree with this. I think this is pretty brutal to those guys. 1 million versus 1.9. I can't imagine investing into Rebirth that high. it is insane. It takes a lot of resources considering there's newer characters being released. Same issue we had with the Horsemen. Horsemen Milestones are up now. I'm pissed. This is from 2 months ago. You with 800k team. He needs to hit 800k milestone. He has 400k right now in the pockets, but there's no leaderboards, milestones don't reset, so he's stuck. He either builds the team for the Horsemen or die, buy or die. That's the mentality here. Next one, also about Green Goblin. He's 10 shards away, 7 yellow, running difficulty 7. Not gonna happen. He's 47,000 points short, but has to build the team, because this amount of points you can't get it with efficiency. You either do higher difficulty and just go bonkers, or you die. Basically, that's the way that is intended for those players. Now, this is very interesting point here. This guy has really well written article here inside Reddit. Let's read it, shall we? The unacknowledged problem with the Scourge announcement. There has been a lot of discussion following the recent Scourge announcements, rightly so. And there will be even more now that the milestones are in game. However, a full discussion cannot be had until they are live in game, and these versions can be tested in order. Okay, basically he's saying if you haven't played the Scourges, you can't decide if you like it or not, what impact it will have on new and mid-game players. The unacknowledged problem, this is a very good point. I didn't even think of it myself, but this is very important to consider. The unacknowledged problem that needs to be addressed for the community as soon as possible is how this will impact the current and the future trials. We will have new legendaries with new trials, and if they will receive the same treatment as they age. Players need to know how these will be treated as they age in order to know how to approach them as they debut and are run. If players know that they will run for X number of times with leaderboards and then set to permanent milestones, we can determine how much we can or need or we want or need to invest in each run. If we would like to get the trial character to 7-star before they move to permanent milestone. So it's like people are scared. Oh my god, when is this new legendary is gonna become permanent trial, and when am I gonna get screwed? How fast do I need to get to the 7-star before it becomes permanent? It's a scary thought if you think about it. I hadn't thought about it myself. I thought this doesn't affect me or any veterans personally, but it does. I mean, next legendary drops, imagine they run it 2 times with the leaderboard, 3rd time it's gonna become permanent. Then if we don't have the 7-star, then what should we do then? Like, what is the result? How hard it will be when it goes to milestone? I mean, it's a lot of debates. It's a lot of factors that when we know that this newer legendary is gonna become permanent at some point, we need to actually consider, because all the lower level player, they want to go hard to get the higher ranking inside the leaderboards, because they're not going to see the rewards next time that they're in milestone. So mid-level player who used to be able to get through the leaderboards easier, get higher ranking, now have to compete with those lower level. And same goes with veterans. Veterans will compete with each other. There's also gonna be lower level lower level people who are going to have to spend to compete with those guys. And it's just crazy. I mean, I'm free to play. I'm imagining, what if a lower level guy has to compete with me and he he is he going to beat me to it? Am I going to get lower ranking because there are more number of lower level players that are going to compete with me? If that is the case, then do I have to participate in the permanent trial? I don't want that. I don't want to have to gear up teams for milestones. It's bullshit, if you ask me. It's not fair. There has been a lot of discussion regarding the Horsemen and how they don't need to be at 7 stars to unlock Apocalypse. That's true. Or even BBA for that matter. Which is true, but is also missing a larger point. The larger point being that the new diamond progression system requires 7 yellow stars to take advantage of. That is also true. As players, whether we are free to play or Kraken, we need to reliably know how we will be able to obtain character shards for the most premier characters in game. So what is the plan, Scopley, moving forward with newer legendaries? This is bonkers, guys. This affects all of us, not just newer mid-game players. As of right now, it's affecting lower level players. I'm not happy with these changes. I think it's gonna affect me as well because I'm a free to play. Gonna affect most of the free to play guys as well. My solution right now for newer level players who are just joining, who are just going straight into permanent milestones, don't build up those teams. Just unlock them to 5 or 4 stars, whatever level you can with what you have, and focus on your dark dimensions. Focus on your progression towards the newer meta past Apocalypse, because Apocalypse, he's been 1 year old. He's still bonkers to the date, unmatched, unchallenged. Super Skrulls is bonkers, but they're over 1 year old. They're gonna go away soon enough. Mephisto is coming. There's newer meta characters coming. We already have Super Skrull out of the meta, kind of, with Black Knight. People are not using Super Skrull as often as they used to, but we need to find out, I think, how this permanent milestone thingy is going to be done moving forward with newer legendaries. I think this is a serious conversation that need to be had, and if this is the case, Scopley, please make it easier for newer players, because as the game progresses, characters get old, it needs to become easier to obtain them rather than harder. You shouldn't require us to build Krakens, you shouldn't require us to force us to build new Avengers, Rebirth. No, please don't. You guys also share your thoughts down in the comments. I apologize, it went to rant mode at some point, but I would like to know your opinions on this topic. I would like to know if this has affected you. What's your opinion? How has this impacted your experience? If you're a veteran, what do you think of the newer legendaries becoming permanent, and are you gonna be okay being forced into building teams? No matter how great, how meta the team is, nobody likes to be forced to do something. I think this is the point, having the agency into where you want to direct your resources. Do you want to direct towards dark dimension? Do you have to go full force on unlocking Apocalypse, and then by the time you unlock him, he's not even usable anymore? Same thing happened with Dormammu. I went slowly to unlock Dormammu. Now Dormammu was out. Super Skrull, same thing, he's out. We want to know how this is going to be moving forward. We want to be able to plan it. If you are doing this, please also keep in mind newer commander journey and where they going to be, like how hard they have to go. Can they do it with 600k team? Can they do it with 900k team? If you're requiring us to build multiple teams, please make it easier to obtain the characters. Don't take away the leaderboard, don't take away the shards from the earlier milestones. It's not fair. I appreciate you guys who have stayed in. Leave your opinions. I'm looking at the comment section. I want to see what you guys think as well. Appreciate you guys. As always, see you on the next one.